I have returned. I have risen. Basically it's Easter. I've returned from the brink of death, like
He's
Jesus
back.
on the cross. I mean, people say I've got the Jesus vibe.
I
Jesus
thought
on
I
the
better
cross.
mask up though because
Yeah, well,
can't take chances.
safety first. So we definitely. I mean, I'm technically exempt from this, so I can.
So am I.
I can take this off. So
Off it goes.
But there we go.
And I can see again, which is nice.
Yeah, no, these do actually work though. I would have, if even exempt, if I had to go around with that COVID when I was going to get my PCR and stuff, even though I was exempt, I pretty much knew I had COVID because I'd failed lateral flows, and I was like, I will struggle with the breathing, and I will go out and put a mask on because I've got to, because you've got to go and get it done. So I was like, I'll put a mask on to keep everybody else safe. But
he's back.
I am back from the brink of death.
Back. It felt weird last Monday not doing a show. I'm not going to lie.
I know. I heard you cried yourself to sleep.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I heard the ball weren't going in.
Not even me constantly replaying the balls were going in clip made you feel any better. It was...
We're going to pay for him, though.
Oh, yeah, I had COVID, by the way, if anybody who is listening. We're not just talking random stuff here. Yes, I did have COVID. That's why I wasn't here. So audio listeners who have no idea what we're chatting about, who don't follow me on socials or subscribe to me on YouTube. Even though I don't think some people who watch this podcast on YouTube, check below. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, you're subscribed. Because I'm near 4,000, which would be ace. But also, it's a case of... There was people asking where the podcast was when I was like, but if you were subscribed, I put it in the community tab. So the correlation would...
To be fair,
surely.
I should have really done a YouTube short and tagged you in it and gone, hey, no podcast, but...
Nah, you ain't monetizing off my death. That's
I'm not monetizing off your death ever.
YouTube short...
It'll be off my own death.
No, yeah, fair. But no, it wasn't fun. But I can talk without coughing everywhere now. The cough actually is fully subsiding. That's the one. I was looking at beds today, Jake.
I know. I saw the message I got. I'm like, we're going to be a bit late on this. I've got to look at beds, and I just sent you the gif of somebody jumping on a bed and rolling off.
Yeah, you sent me that at 6:20 this morning.
I know I did because I was awake and I've been a dick.
I was not awake at that time, and I was like, it's 6:20, Jake. I didn't actually. But then when I got up and I looked at the beds, yes, I've bought a bed in the Black Friday sales.
Don't blame you. Was it a nice bed?
It's all right.
It's fine.
It's one of the... Oh, you know, Duck. I've got to get the one that's got the proper lumbar support.
I've got to have proper lumbar support.
Yeah,
because if I get up in the morning and I need to go do my business, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, you know, you don't want to get too loose down there, and it's very helpful. No, I just basically... The bed I've got is knackered. I was going to wait till we moved, because when we move, I'm just going to get a Super King and spend a fortune on it and take out, like,
the thing is,
yearly payments on it.
People don't realise how much beds and mattresses cost.
Yeah, but if you get them on, if you get
them on payment plans.
If you get them on payment plans, it's all right, because they do 0% on a lot of them. So
we got an Otto a couple of years back. It's the best thing we've slept on in ages. Shut up.
But I've just got a sort of, it's one of those that is going to be now the temporary thing for about 8 months, a year, and then I'm just going to put it in the spare room. But I was, it's really bad, my current bed. I've had it for quite a while, and I've only just learned, and this is a, you might think I'm thick, you might think, oh, he's clearly not adulted for long. I haven't adulted for that long, longer than I probably should before I learned this, but some people don't learn this until their 40s, right? When you first get a mattress, you're meant to rotate it every week.
Yep.
I didn't know this.
Yep. You're also meant to change them every 10 years.
Well, you're meant to, literally, just because apparently in the first 6 months, it's really crucial. Especially the first, I think 6 weeks to a month, 6 weeks to 2 months, they were saying. you've
You got a
really got to
bed
rotate it
education.
every month. Yeah, because otherwise it'll get lumpy. You'll get a lumpy mattress.
It's just about evening it all out.
Yeah, I'll be honest, last time I bought a mattress, I'd just become a student. I wasn't really thinking about rotating the mattress.
No, you really weren't, were you?
No,
Were you-
there was
were you
other
even
things
thinking
on my
about-
mind involving mattresses back then. I wasn't thinking about like, oh, I've got to make sure it doesn't get
You were
too
making sure
lumpy.
you were just making sure it wasn't too squeaky.
You always got to go for the divan, the solid base. Go for anything that's got legs, mate.
Yeah.
In a student house as well.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
luck. Oh, yeah.
There's some good stories that I know from people who've been.
No, there's just when you've got them running through your brain and you're like, I can't say that on a podcast. Yeah, maybe for the anniversary special. Speaking of the anniversary special, we will be doing sort of something in January to celebrate a year of Talking Wednesday. I'm annoyed that the episodes are not going to line up quite right now. However, we might try and put an extra one in 1 week.
I will say this now. While he's been off, he's like been messy going, shall we do a show in the middle so it lines up so it's right? His OCD going off the chart because it's not right.
Yeah, because 52 won't be the year and that'll annoy me.
Well, we could shove in a Christmas special.
I mean, we could cut an episode and then make 50 the year, but that'd please a lot of people. But there's 52 weeks, so I want 52 shows.
Yeah. Right,
You know.
I can't believe how close it's coming to because we started these and me just popping in on your channel
Streams.
afterwards, dream to just go, what did we think? And then we went, sod it, we'll do a podcast.
Yeah, that's exact. No, we'll talk about all this in the anniversary. How
Yeah,
it
we
all came to pass, as well as probably getting quite drunk. So
Yes.
that'll be fun. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get. I don't know what we're actually going to end up doing, but
We're working out ideas that as we speak.
I'll sleep in your shed. Right.
Fair enough.
So we are doing a podcast.
Yep.
I forgot how to run this. I forgot
So
what I'm doing.
you know me go, how's your week been?
I'm going for another week off.
Yeah.
No,
so you know me go with how's your week been, and then go.
How's your week
You're-
been, Jake?
I've been playing Farm Simulator all week, so that's how mine's been. I am that sad. I am at that age, and there will be a stream of me doing it at some point when my computer decides to like streaming again. It doesn't like streaming at the moment. I don't know what I've done to it, and I'm gonna fix it. Oh God, I'm down more. But yes, it's been one of those things this week where I've been trying to get a lot of things done with the house, and it coming up to that period where I have to play hide the present from a 3-year-old, and I forgot how smart she is.
Well, that's the thing. I've got hide the presents from your partner at the minute, so I'm just like trying to hide a lot of gifts at the minute.
It's all right. This weekend I caught her trying to open the attic with the attic opener.
Do you mean the stick with a hook?
Yes.
Right. I'm gonna say you give it an attic opener. I've never heard anyone call the stick with a hook the attic opener.
Fair, I've never called it that in my life up until now. But
Also, when is it an attic and not a loft? I know nobody's wrote in with this, but this feels like a topic we'd start with. When is it an attic and not a loft?
I think a loft is something that you can actually use as a room. An attic you can't. I think.
Other
There's a
way
loft.
around. I always thought that was the other way around. Because people say they're going to
Anybody who does lofts and attic conversion,
Get
please.
in the comments, please
let us know.
clarify. I mean, we could Google it, but why would we do that when you guys can give us some clarification? Right, and for next week, we might even correct ourselves.
What is the
next week.
difference between an attic and a loft?
Indeed. We're going to start with no new reviews, by the way. Still, sort that out. Come on, I've been poorly sick. How are you not like...
Where's
giving me
the sympathy reviews?
Exactly. Membership options on YouTube. You can financially support the channel there. That would be appreciated. Discord is available, and I have still not got back to those people.
To be fair, you've been ill.
Yeah.
Let's be fair. Let's be honest.
Let's just say I've had COVID for a month, and then the reason I've left you on read for a month, that's why. No, I am going to sort it. We're going to start with something a bit different today. So we usually go for a community topic to write in. Somebody sends something in a bit silly or something sounds very serious, like the
I
the
saw
great
this
flip-flop
on Twitter, yes.
debate. I want to start with Sheffield Wednesday. It was Sheffield Wednesday related, guys. You don't have to skip too far today. They asked Deli Basharoo. He answered questions I wasn't expecting him to answer.
You heard who they've got next week?
Who've they got next week?
This week, Patterson. Big P next
Right!
Next week.
Everybody on the hashtag. Big P it up. When he gets on there, I never do a call to arms, but if we're ever going to get the Big P questions in, now. Now is the one.
Patterson this week, I think.
Don't be rude. Don't be
nice.
Remember, you will be in a weird way, even though I will say as a disclaimer, that any tweets towards him do not represent the Talking Wednesday podcast.
No,
but technically, don't show us up. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You do realise that at some point down the line, we'd like to get ex-players on at some point.
That would be great. So yeah, he was asked a lot of questions. And we'll start with the one that won't get him landed in prison. Let's start with, he got asked, do ducks swim or float? He said float. I think they float. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, they float. They don't swim.
They float. He was asked if he'd be a ninja or a pirate. And he said he was
scared of water.
He said he's definitely a ninja. I love fighting. I'm scared of water. To which Windasss replied, "I've just seen you in the hot tub."
It's nice to have Windass back on Twitter.
I mean, I think being a ninja would be quite intense.
I'd be a pirate every day of the week.
You wouldn't do very well in that.
I wouldn't, but I'd still be a pirate.
No, well, I don't know.
I could be the anchor. Don't put a W in that, anyone.
It was a gross time, wasn't it? Pirate times.
Yeah.
The hygiene. I don't know. I think we fantasize it a bit, but it's a bit minging.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I think ninjas are cool. Yeah, probably.
But hang on, I can't do either one of these. If I'm a ninja and I have a fit, well, that's knackered. And if I'm a pirate and I have a fit, I'm on the other side with the crocodile. I'm screwed.
It's almost as if you've got a disability.
Yeah, I don't talk about it.
No. Oh. Now, this is the one that should get Deli Basharoo landed in jail. And also, Isaac SWFC, who asked this, I swear I've seen that name around before. We might have been Isaac in this community. Says, milk or cereal first? Right, to me, anybody who doesn't belong on some sort of register would answer this in the correct way, unlike what he does here and goes, always milk first. Who
put milk in and then put the cornflakes in and then it goes everywhere?
Who's putting milk in the cereal first?
I don't do that. It's always cereal first, then your milk. Because you can judge how much milk you're going to have because, no.
I don't, honestly, right, I don't understand how these people, these people who put the milk in first, how does their brain work? Because it's a case of, like, you put too much, as you say, you put too much milk in, and then you've got no space for your cereal. But also, the cereal, I imagine, would kind of float for a while, and then you get different levels of soggy and...
Yeah. Can you imagine Weetabix is the worst when you put it in milk, because as soon as the milk, it absorbs it all. No, it's always cereal first.
This disturbed me more than it should have done. I don't understand.
We like your fizz. Come on.
But I'm sorry, mate. This is... Let us know your take on this in the comments, because if you're already a listener, apologies. But yeah, this is egregious.
If you're a listener, you're on Twitter, let us know via Talking Wednesday Twitter handle.
At Talking Wed. Yeah,
yep.
At Talking Wed. But yeah, weird. Right. We've got a few matches to talk about because I was out for a little while. We'll quickly brush through, Accrington Stanley, which was a hell of a game, by the way.
It really was.
I celebrated the winner in this a little bit too much to say I was in the middle of COVID. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to die.
I saw your Twitter. It was funny.
But yeah, talk us through it if you can remember.
It's just a weird game, really, because I knew Accrington Stanley was going to be tough, but the way we actually managed to play was superb. We had that fight back, and it's something we've not had for a while. And you can see maybe the sports psychologists we have got in are now doing the business in the mental side, helping us, working out what thing. It was just, I don't think we could all believe it, could we, when the result came through?
No.
It was a weird one, but again, we're scoring now, and that's the one thing we weren't doing for a while. We were making chances, but now we're scoring. To be honest with you, mate, I cannot, for the life of me, remember who scored what in that game because it was that long ago.
It doesn't matter. I just think it was a great win, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. Like, we should have been beating them, but the way to come back from behind, that set a standard for us. Let's talk MK Dons, a bit more recent. Go for it.
So, we were unlucky in this game because I don't think we deserved to go 1-0 down at all because we outplayed them. And it was a wonder strike. For anyone giving Bailey Peacock foul, Pelt was saying, West would have saved this or that. No one stopping that. That was a worldie of a goal and fair play to him. He hit it pearler. But we came back into it. And when in the past, we've had it where we look flat-footed. Our head didn't drop. It's like we knew we could get back into this. The head were high. And again, NK Don, very good team at the minute. Really they're up there to getting promoted. We managed to show some real reserve and get back into it. Lee Gregory with the header. I'll admit he was a little bit lucky to still be on the pitch. Different referee another time might have sent him off for the stamp. Wasn't on purpose, but he did stand on him.
Wasn't this the game we should have had a penalty in, though?
Yes, it was a very clear penalty. But the man, the myth, the person I said who got no pace, he's back. And I am so happy he's back because I loved his interview. He said, yeah, I meant to miss it. And it does look like he means to miss it, but we all know he didn't. He went to hit it and he missed his first shot. But it teed him up nicely to get a 93rd minute winner. And the best part is, he didn't know what to do. I love Shay Dunkley just going to him, pushing him toward the crowd, going, go celebrate. And seeing Brennan, a Wednesdayite, going absolutely mental, so he should. And on that one, Dunkley and Brenner have been superb at the back recently.
That MK Dons game, and I've got to play devil's advocate, and I love the passion. I agree with everything you just said. I felt like for the MK Dons game, Brennan was getting carried a little bit.
He was, but I think he needs that at the start of his career.
I agree. He definitely. What I'm saying as well on that is that players need that to bed them in. Do you know what I mean? They need that time where they're going to make mistakes or just be carried through games by the more experienced players, and to have Dunkley actually do it, because Dunkley was doing a lot of the work against OK Dons.
Yeah,
but that's what you need. That's how players develop. You know.
And the one thing I loved about this was Dunkley could have easily had 4 goals in the first half from headers alone. But my only problem with this whole thing with Dunkley, we're now overusing it a little bit. People are already seeing what we do, but we're getting corners in, and it's not Barry Bannon taking them. It's like we changed the system and everything's looking good.
What are we getting in?
Shut up. Getting balls into the box.
Oh, okay, right.
We're getting the balls in, but they're actually beating the first man. And I love one of the corners. I think it was like 30th minute in the first half, where Dunkley's literally going to him, going, move out the way, because he wants to run up for it. And he got his head on the end of it. But Dunkley really stepped up. He started out being a little bit back after injury, but I think he's stepping into that role of being the person to be relied upon while we haven't got certain defenders in. And Jack Hunt recently has been good as well. I want to talk about that in the Wycombe game. But
let's talk about the Wycombe game. Let's talk about the Wycombe game then, because that was so obviously MK Dons 2-1 win. That's two decent wins for Wednesday there league wise. Let's forget Plymouth, and then move on to the Wycombe game.
The Wycombe game. you know what's nice about watching Wednesday at the minute? We feel upbeat. The crowd are with them again at last.
Yeah.
And there's none of that situation. But Jack Hunt, I know we said it a little bit in the past that he lacked going back, and he does. But going forward at the minute, he's looking really good. I will admit, for their first goal, I think Longo was tracking back a little bit too slowly.
Who is Longo? This Longo.
I can't do U's and O's and...
You can say it though, Jake.
I know I can, but when my brain goes, it doesn't engage.
You go
with my
Longo.
Mouth. Longo, yeah.
Longo.
That's why I call him Mass.
I mean, that's even better, to be honest. Just use that.
Yeah, but Mass was just trotting back, and we didn't deserve to go down in that game, though, at all. Well, I thought we had more of it. Then you got the situation that happened in the middle of the game. It's all come out now. We all thought it was a medical emergency. Now it was two fans having a scrap, apparently, and apparently about Barry Bannon, so fair enough. Okay.
I mean, I've said on the podcast many a time Barry Bannon gets too much stick, but I'm not going to give you a smack because of it.
No.
But it's... I just want to say, don't fight with each other.
That could have been something really serious that took people away.
I will say this in general, like, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? Is meant to mean something. And I'm not just talking about this. I'm talking about a lot of stuff. There's like, and I say it all the time, Twitter's like one of those toxic places, but fans will try and pit each other out if they've got a slight difference of opinion. And we're meant to be all part of the same side with this, differing opinions. We don't need to always turn to the, oh, you must be an idiot, or you just must be this, or the name calling because we've got a different opinion to someone, or this ratio thing that everybody loves to seem to do. And to be honest, I'm probably becoming a boomer there because everything's ratioed on Twitter now, innit?
Yeah.
So it's like, why are we just not being decent to each other on that front?
It's a weird one because I don't want to go on about it too much, but it is a strange one because back in the Megson era and Dave Jones era, there was that togetherness with fans where it didn't matter what happened. People just understood what the project was. And
when I was growing up, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? Actually used to feel like it was. I was a 13-year-old on forums, and I didn't feel like I felt welcomed. I didn't feel
you felt
like,
part of the family kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But now there's a massive divide between like certain sections of the fan base, and it shouldn't be that. And that is sort of like,
one of the things I like about We're All Wednesday, aren't we? Because it's got a meaning to it, and the fact that it's on our shirts,
yeah,
as well.
The sad thing is, because obviously as well now, like, I know there's certain Wednesday fans I probably wouldn't agree with on stuff, but I wouldn't really hold that against them. But I also know from the interactions I've seen them having with other people on Twitter, or even sometimes with me, that they would be an arse about it. And I'm like, that's in our fan base. We shouldn't be arses to each other.
Everyone
should be
have a
decent
right
to each
to
other.
have an opinion and respect that opinion, even if you don't.
When
agree
it comes
with
to
it.
football, I'm just saying, like other opinions, you can get a little bit more,
football basic,
a little bit more hyped up about, a little bit more, heated about. I understand that, but when it comes to football, and we're all meant to be pulling for the same side, we shouldn't be.
It sometimes feels like we're against each other in terms of that we all support the same team.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was like, it's just like, I don't know. I guess it just sort of like the epitome of fans having a scrap. Just says how there can be division.
Disappointed. Let's put it that way. Like a really bad dad who just. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
No, it just made me. There was just a few things around that week that I was like, I always think that I could like sit down and have a chat with anyone, but there is some people. I know that would be a thing now. I put my opinions out on a podcast as well, so that's always there now. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those where like. I know people would think, if they didn't agree with me, there's people that don't, just because they don't agree with you on something, they immediately think you're an idiot and your opinion's invalid. And I'm like, that shouldn't be happening in our fan base. That we should be having discussions, and we should all be able to sit around and have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Rather than, but then again, I've never been behind that humour where everything is mocking somebody. Do you know what I mean? And there is a lot of that about 10, 15 years before my time, and there is that. Like I've hung I've hung around with many different age groups. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, I always had mates that were like 10 years older than me, that sort of thing. So I'd sit in the pub and we'd go to certain pubs and stuff. And if you're doing football chat, usually a lot of it is the banter side of it. I just think when it turns
football chat and musician chat, to be fair, is the same. It's very similar.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Like being a musician in a pub, you usually get the football fans coming over and mocking you. Oh, you got long. It's always the bald ones. You got long hair, all that sort of stuff. And like, oh, is you. The one that they really like when I've got a beard is like, are you a boy or a girl? You know, and yeah, that sort of stuff. And I'm used to that sort of stuff, but it's mainly it's just this. The football stuff recently has become a lot more toxic, and I don't like it, mate. I guess I'm just,
I don't.
Maybe I'm just a bit of a softie. I'm just like, stop being arses to each other. We should all be able to go out and have a laugh. Everything seems so crap at the minute and so tense that we need to be able to have a good time without constantly holding each other to certain standards, having a pop at each other over nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what I mean.
And also, don't scrap in the stands. Yeah. Anyway, back to the game.
Breaking play actually helped us a little bit because I think it reorganised us a little bit and got us a bit going. And fair play to Lee Gregory. Lee Gregory could have took that shot himself, but gave it to Shadipo to get his first goal for the club, and it was good to see. And then come out at the second half, Windasss, great ball in by Shadipo, and what I love is the way he just controls it with his right, hits it with his left, goal.
You're saying, yes, I think you're saying it not wrong because according to John Pearson, it's Windasss.
Windasss.
And it's also, what does he do? Corbinu. He loves Corbinu.
You know what? I am so happy. Some of the commentaries I've heard this year makes me feel I shouldn't be so self-conscious.
Well, I obviously don't hear it. Right. I don't hear it that often, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's when I was ill, I was watching the matches and I was like, this is funny that we say names. Everybody says names a bit differently.
But the one for me, the free kick for their equaliser.
Yeah.
Is Bailey at fault, or is it a good free kick, or is it a bit of both?
It's a bit of both.
Because
that's savable, but you've got to think, is he unsighted? Because the how slow he moves there, it's almost as if he didn't see it coming through. But he should have been able to save that as well.
He does shift his weight to his right side quite early and then try and get back.
It's a very good free kick, but you should be able to. His positioning let him down there as well. But yeah, I wouldn't.
Bannon was fuming.
You see, I said, to be honest, I thought we should win that. But on Twitter, I kind of put fair point because I was like, do you know what? I'll take a point.
You would have taken that.
That's what I meant. And then I even had people saying like, that doesn't mean. You know, like, we should have won that, clearly. What do you mean fair? That sort of thing. I was like, I was just saying I'm taking it, guys. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then, like...
You look at stats as well.
Yeah, well,
7 shots, 3 on target.
It didn't feel like that in the first half. No. You know, before that restart, we kept giving away possession. And I know the conditions weren't great. But then when I looked at the stats, I was like, on paper, we've battered these. But it didn't feel like it for the first sort of like half an hour of the game. But then we kicked on. So when on reflection, obviously, I take that in. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'll take the 2-2. Wycombe are performing well. That's what I meant by it. But it's just...
And fair play to the groundman staff who were there like early doors to try and get game going. Even Liam Dooley went and got his high vis on, started shoveling snow to make sure it gets in. That's something Wednesday's not had in a while, where someone's like from upper management going, right, I want the game on. And also, one thing we glossed over, Chansiri back in the country at the moment. He was at both games.
Didn't he get on the pitch and start digging?
What, to see if his under soil heating's working?
They better have that thing bloody on now.
That is fixed. That is fixed.
Well, I must say though, right? Burnley called off their game. Their Premier League, you know.
Exactly.
Spurs were actually at their stadium. They called it off. And the thing is, with international travel, there were Spurs fans that had come from international to come and see that. Yeah, all that sort of thing. That
I felt really sorry for him on that one. It's like, sorry, English weather came. Sorry,
but no, the snow kind of messed with my weekend a little bit as well, to be fair. I didn't think I was going to get to work this morning, but I came back late last night. I was going to go to work this morning from where me and Soph were last night, but instead I decided to come back just in case it decided to...
He made the adult decision.
I shouldn't have to though. Do you know what I mean? If it's too snowy and I can't get into work, sod it. Sod's love. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's sometimes just not. It's not. You should have made every effort to get it. I'll be like, well, do you know what, mate? Let's be honest. We are not designed for this sort of weather.
No.
The snow. Our cars, people can't drive in this weather. People crash all the time. Our motorways, especially if you're up north, there's not enough funding for it. The roads are never clear as quickly as they should be. The fact that I was on the M62 on Saturday and the right lane was pretty much out of action completely because the snow had come down so much that people weren't, and it was, if you'd have gone into that overtaking lane, you would have just, we just ice skating pretty much. So, yeah, if it's snowing, we should all just go, sod it. I'm staying at home.
But 6 points out of those 3 games.
Football, isn't it?
Just a shame we couldn't get the 9.
I've not spoke to many people this week. I'm just talking absolute crap this podcast.
It's lovely.
You missed it.
It's been awesome.
But yeah, we are now 10 games unbeaten in the league for the first time since early 2019, which is very good.
And we got the hoodoo of going from behind at home
and winning.
Yeah, which is nice. So yeah, it's good to see, isn't it?
It definitely feels different. It feels like progress.
You can see what he was trying to do, and it's starting to show the fruits of it now.
Yep.
And that's what's nice, because we've been saying for a while, and we did say if it hadn't changed in a bit, we would be a bit like, something needs to give. But it seems like they're listening now and they're understanding. And there's a big togetherness with them now. It's like they're starting to know each other as well a little bit better.
I will say we had a couple of emails in for community topics. I think one was from Zach saying about Darren Moore and giving him more time, and he's on that side sort of things. But obviously we've moved on a little bit since then. Apologies to COVID. We would have probably used that on last week's. But we had some lengthy email. We had a couple of lengthy emails when I was out. So apologies with them not being featured in the show. But I just thought I'd mention that. I do read the emails. So thank you for sending them in. Let's talk about League One. We'll talk about the 27th results just because it makes more sense, doesn't it? So, Burton versus Doncaster. Burton beat them 2-0. So, Doncaster, they are in absolute trouble. Yeah. Cambridge, Sunderland. Sunderland won that one 2-1. Morecambe, MK Dons. MK Dons won 4-0 after obviously playing us.
Didn't look it when they played us.
No, exactly. AFC, Wimbledon and Fleetwood drew 2-2. Oxford United and Rotherham drew 0-0. I can imagine how Oxford played if they played any similar to us there. I will say, actually, Rotherham have fully kicked into gear. They are flying at the top of the league, but I still feel like we are not fully there yet. And once we are there yet, we could really get into a swing of things.
But also, with Rotherham, look at what happened when you have a stable management for a while. He's been there 5 years now.
Yeah. He's a decent bloke as well.
He's a decent bloke. Yeah. He's a decent bloke, and he just makes sense.
Everybody want Ryan Lowe. Plymouth lost to Wigan. Wigan beat him 2-1. That was Plymouth at home. Bolton versus Cheltenham was 2-2. Gillingham, Portsmouth. Portsmouth won that 1-0.
And Mr. Evans was not very happy. It's what I like to see. I don't like Steve Evans.
I'm not a fan.
No.
Shrewsbury, Charlton. Shrewsbury won that 1-0. Lincoln versus Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley won that 1-0.
Yeah.
So the two teams that we beat were winning. So that's this league at this minute. Ipswich versus Crewe. Ipswich came out 2-1 winners.
Yeah.
So looking at the table, Rotherham are currently at the top with 38 points. We are in 7th with 33. It's quite congested up there.
It's a very tight table at the minute.
Yep. It definitely is. We've got the game in hands are sort of leveling out a little bit. Only MK Dons and Sunderland have got the games in hands who are above us. So technically, if you take out the game in hands, bear in mind remember the gap between us and Plymouth where people were starting to talk. We are 3 points behind Plymouth and we've got the same games played now. So that is what a little bit of an upturn in form can do. I'm hoping playoffs. I'm hoping now like we can kick on and get there.
Whatever's clicked, and the switch have been. They seem like
we're
they
attacking
understand it.
teams, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I was like, if we're not too sure in defence, attack and it'll come. And then we won't have to worry about the defence so much. What's helping is we're attacking, and then Dunkley's finding form as well. He's getting the confidence, and the defence is bedding in a little bit.
To be fair,
more.
that Wycombe game, we could have had so many tap-ins that we just didn't take, which was a shame. Lee Gregory wasn't really at the races that day.
Yeah. Did you see the Wycombe manager's comments after the match?
About our pitch, yes.
Yeah, talking about our pitch. He was not too happy, but he did say we took the spoils in the second half, not arguing that when he was talking after the match to Bucks Free Press. But it was interesting to see that people talking about our pitch conditions like it was a reason for that Wycombe match.
No, to be fair, I've seen us playing a lot worse pitches after a lot worse weather.
Yeah. Conditions were the same for both teams as well.
Yeah. I think the nice thing is, like someone said, it was nice to see when Accrington Stanley came on, he just wasn't able to do anything. We managed to nullify that.
No, it was a good weekend all round, really, for Wednesday.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2-2, we probably could have quite easily taken. I will say they were clinical though, Wycombe, when they had the chances, they took them. So
that's just a bit weird. Not yet, but I think there's something about Windasss and Mass coming back into that squad has really lifted them all, kind of thing. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously, Shadipo's been involved recently. What are your thoughts on him?
Not used enough, and I'm not 100% sure why. But when he does play, he's been playing really well. And I think we just got this whole situation where we've got so many wingers at the minute. It's hard to say who plays when, if that makes sense. But when he plays, he looks superb for me.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. We've got talks of even more potential wingers coming in and all sorts, because Darren Moore's been saying, talking about January transfer window, which is obviously around the corner, saying it's really key to the club's promotion hopes. He wants to get a centre-half in. Just so we were linked with a centre 35, 36-year-old. What was his name? What was we were linked with a 35, 36-year-old centre-back. He went somewhere abroad. We didn't sign him on a free.
Australia, something like that.
Yeah, I think he did go to Austria, actually. And so that means we didn't bring in a free transfer in the centre-back slot. Probably something we are going to have to really do in January. But that could be the difference between promotion, getting a solid centre-back next to Dunkley as Brennan's developing and, keep giving him games, that sort of thing. Do it properly. That would be a good thing to do it. A good way to do it. Apologies. So let's move on to talking about Windass, because he was speaking after his performances recently, and he was talking about basically how much he enjoyed playing at the club, and he had the options to go elsewhere and stayed at the club. What are your thoughts on Windass in general?
I see a player who likes having... I think he likes having his dad's background of being quite a big player, so he's got something to go against, if that makes sense. Because he's always going to have that thing where he'll be in his dad's shadow. So I think that spurs him on to try and beat his dad a little bit. But what the interview came across with me was that he's a player that likes the big occasions, and if you're not going to have the big occasions and the big crowds every week, it's not for him. And he seems like if he got more pressure on his shoulders, it's actually better for him than in coasting. And I'd rather have that than a player thinking they can coast all the time.
We didn't have much of Josh Windass with the fans in.
No.
And that if he is that sort of player, he thrives off it. That's going to be key.
He's going to love it.
Yeah, and I think that will be a big thing for his, time at this club, whether he really kicks on or not. But
he did always do well when he was in Rangers shirt. He did push on, and yes, he's come out and said in the past on Twitter that one of his big regrets with Rangers was actually leaving Rangers because he thought, I'm better than this, and he knew he wasn't, kind of thing. But at the same time, he'd gone to Wigan. It's not really gone the way he wants, and he'd come here and He's got a fantastic relationship with Bannon. They're really close. Every time you see something on Instagram post, especially the other day, they were both wearing the same sodding hoodie and they hadn't even spoke to each other and they just both turned up at the coffee shop in the same hoodie. But it's nice to see when you've got this situation where there's that camaraderie off the pitch.
I just love that bit of side information. I just wasn't expecting that bit of background there, to be honest. Thank you, Jake. Ever going above and beyond, you are, sir.
You're
right.
welcome.
Yes, we're going to talk about it because we reported it. We were chatting so long ago about this. I think we were the first ones to really delve into it as well.
Yeah.
With Mendes Lang signing, then I get COVID when we actually sign him. But yes. I
still don't understand the signing. Personally.
I was going to make a joke, but I'm going to be the better person.
Be the better person.
All I'm going to do is go. If anybody gets that, that'll be for the either. Yeah, we'll see. But I think that's the only one I'm ever going to do. From now on, I'm fully, because I never made a joke, right? No. But I think it's a great signing. This.
It's a great signing. It
especially
really
at centre half.
He came on versus Wycombe and he looked superb.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is, it's not someone coming straight in from the cold. He'd been training with him for a while, so we'd had a chance to get him up to speed. I think that's the thing that we were all worried about if he came in, that he wasn't ready. He played in a couple of games behind closed doors, and he looked like he kept himself in good condition. One of the things that
people are saying that we've got so many options on the wing. For me, we've got the right amount now. Because you want your impact players off the bench. You need to be able to change it up. If it's not working for a couple of players on the wing, you are deciding to use wing play, everybody's screaming like 4-4-2 and stuff like that. And if we want to use wingers,
Before we start about wingers, can I just mention Darren Moore masterclass of putting Patterson at centre-back for you? Because he was playing at winger and
Can you just remind me who was the first person to put Patterson at centre back? I'm pretty sure that
I think it was some bloke on YouTube called Dirty Bot.
Yeah, there was because for some reason I just decided that, you know what, Patterson's got all the stats that would make a great centre back, and now he's actually in real life playing at centre back,
and he's actually done quite well.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? It's almost as if you should pay me obscene amounts to manage a football team. The offer's there, by the way. I'll do it. I'll take the stick that comes with that for the money.
6 months?
But then you'd never see me again. Honestly, you would never see me again. I'd be like, all right, see you later. I'm quite happy. I'll write my little.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that lad who was in charge of for 6 months? Yeah. Whatever happened to him? He moved.
Yeah, just gone. I'd have a little place in a nice area. And I'd just be writing me tunes. That's the dream, to be honest, mate. Just to be left alone. Occasionally do the odd thing, but have enough money to not really worry about it. I don't need to be rich. Just be able to write my tunes, not have to worry about it, not have to worry about getting up and always slog. Just the anxiety and all the crap that comes with it.
And then it'll come out from the woodwork when we win the World Cup with a World Cup song, and then go back in.
You'd see me every 2 to 3 years when I'm going to come out and play some tunes. Or, do you know what? I could actually probably come out every year with it because I would have so much time to write tunes. I'd enjoy it. I'd also play a lot of video games.
There you go. We found out Dexter's retirement plan.
Well, what are you talking about, mate? I'm in my 20s. I'm not going to retire until I'm 90 at this current rate with the way society is going. Right. With Mendes Lang, I think it's more depth options on the wing.
Smart move.
Yeah,
and even though I did see people in the interview go, "Oh, you've been spending too much time with Darren." It's like a lot of Birmingham people do use a lot. It's in their vocabulary. It's something that is quite well known, kind of thing. So don't give stick for that, because I saw that a lot, and it's like that's something that's very in the Birmingham kind of repertoire, where is something that they do say a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not again. Every time.
Bit of news, the Owls have partnered one of the other clubs that have started to support her game too, getting the fact that football's for anyone. So her game too for me is a no-brainer, it's one of those where I know people say, why does it always have to be a thing about things? If it's a thing, racism, rainbow laces, her game too. If it's any of those things, it's probably because there's some people being discriminated against in those groups from just trying to enjoy a thing. Okay, so I think the fact that Wednesday are getting involved with it is a brilliant thing.
It's like we were talking about earlier. We're all Wednesday, aren't we?
Exactly.
Whatever your creed, your religion, your race, your sexuality. If you enjoy watching Wednesday, we enjoy you being there.
I must say, right, I've been quite ignorant. You can be to a lot of it, because I would never think that, I've only never really understood why guys would be like, oh, women shouldn't be at football, that sort of thing. For me, that's so backwards. Do you know, that I didn't even... So the ignorance comes out there, and there's probably a lot of people out there that go, why is this even, a problem? It's a problem because there is genuine people that think like that. And just because you might not be that person, or you don't, hang around with those sort of people, there is those people there. So I think it's a great thing to be happening.
It's great and it's nice to see it coming from everybody knows Vic. She's had stuff in the past as well, so it's very close to her. She's had stuff where she's had to come off social media due to abuse she got. So the fact that Vic's helping running it makes a lot of sense, and fair play to him, because every time I've seen another club partnered up with her, guys, when are we going to do this? Surely it's coming soon, because it makes sense. If we want to be that community club, we involve everyone.
Yeah. I like how you say everybody knows everybody. I know nobody, right? Because I'm very antisocial. So but even I know about all of that because we've talked about it many times. I just think it's a great thing, Yeah. So cool. We've not talked about it many times. To be fair, we've just talked about with all this stuff coming around, because you've been on a couple of podcasts talking about this stuff as well, haven't you? That's why we've chatted about it. So you've been on some of that sort of stuff. That's why
I've been plugging the podcast like I meant to.
I don't hold him at gunpoint, by the way. He acts like I hold him at gunpoint.
I'm actually doing a lot better at plugging it on my own channel now. There's even a dedicated button that says Talking Wednesday, which brings the graphic up. So,
well, it's just a case of do you know, the only reason that we had a conversation once because we got approached through Talking Wednesday, right, to go on a podcast. So that Jake went on. Jake went on and didn't mention the podcast, right? And I was like, we got approached through the podcast. Can you guys come on, represent? And he was like, oh, I don't even know. I've just punk Sheffield.
I don't even know him. He's not.
I've got a channel and I just talk about Sheffield. Oh yeah, I might. Didn't even mention it. Right, so that's why we were like, right, if somebody's coming to us as the podcast and wants to go, we should probably mention, hey, we've got this podcast, do you want to check it out, that sort of thing. So that's probably why Jake went into a guilt trip and started putting it in every single video, Talking Wednesday is here, I'm sorry.
Hey, to be fair, it's actually turned into my little routine now with what I do things. It's
no, it's quite neat, actually.
I just realised I've got really bad 90s boy band but reverse blonde tips. That's getting cut out tomorrow.
I mean, you do look slightly like a turnip.
Yeah. Well, I got told I look like that pineapple with the sunglasses on and the green hair.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. I could say I can't say anything, man. I've had my hair up today, so I've took it out and it's just all crumpled and look at us just talking about our hair. Let's move on to community topics, shall we?
Yeah.
So Susan Egan writes in and goes, "Is an automatic promotion push, or can we do it?"
Question.
There's words in there somewhere. And do we recall Dawson with how well he's doing?
Dawson is actually doing very well. I think they could be 17 undefeated.
We don't recall him for me.
Let him enjoy that and then come back with a clean slate.
Exactly, that's my thinking, because if you bring him back, he's going to feel a lot of pressure on him. And also, I don't think you recall him because unless Bailey Peacock-Farrell goes back, I reckon we've got a agreement to play him. So
yeah.
And yet, automatic's on.
It's on, but we need
to carry on like the positivity we've seen in the past week.
Yeah. We need to have what Darren Moore did with Rovers at one point, where they were going on a massive run of just getting wins, and it's there to do. We've shown that we can do it now, and we've shown that we can do the side of it that we all thought we couldn't do if we come from behind in games. So it's there now. There's something to build on.
Yeah, no, completely. Yeah, there's not really much to talk about. I know I'm saying a lot of yeah and stuff today, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm not long COVID, I promise. I'll tell you what, I did lose my taste.
Oh yeah, I saw this on Twitter, and I was like, how can I mention it at the beginning?
Mate.
What was it like not being able to taste food?
Like, that would have been because I've heard some people haven't had it back for months.
Yeah.
And some people still haven't got it back. And some people get that thing where everything tastes like sewage because it changes you. And I'm like, oh. And I remember I think I had a pizza just go, and I feel really crap. You know, I've been eating really healthy. I want a pizza. I couldn't taste it.
Watch along interesting. What do you have for tea? Well, I'll tell you what I'd had for tea. Yeah.
I don't know if I should put this on the podcast, but
if you want to clip it, you can put it for members.
Do you know how I restored my taste? And this might be coincidental, but it was literally exactly after this.
Okay.
I was eating a pickled gherkin. Right. And I was like, I can't taste it. It's just texture. Right. So I got another pickled gherkin out.
Right.
And started shaving down the taste buds on my tongue with the pickled gherkin. And then I was like, right, okay. And I went upstairs and had some strawberry ice cream.
Yeah.
And I could taste it. And I was like, the magic pickle.
To be fair,
because all of a sudden I could taste again. And my taste has been back ever since. So that's a COVID cure for you. Scrape your taste buds with a pickled gherkin.
Well, my sister had COVID, and the way she knew she had COVID is when she opened the bleach and she couldn't smell it.
Well.
So then she said...
what did it taste like as she drank it?
Oh, no. The worst part was the worst bit was when I got a phone call from my mother saying, I've been sniffing the bleach to see if I got COVID. I'm like, Mum, what are you doing? And that was what she told me. I'm like, context. Why you been sniffing bleach? Oh, Becky got COVID. Right, now I understand.
We do go off on some tangents, don't we?
Oh, God, yeah.
Callum David George Breeze writes in, says, judging by the volume of injuries this season, is it high time the club consider relocating to a better training facility? I can cite Leicester City as a good example. Moving out of the city for a better training ground in opposed to their old training ground, which was not up to the standards of the modern game. Saying that, I understand the importance of having a training ground at the heart of the community. But if it means keeping players fit and injury-free, then that is something I am willing to pursue. In addition to that, I would love to know what your guys' personal assessment of what the ongoing injury crisis is. Thank you for the content and hope you're feeling better, Dex. Thank you very much, Callum. Best of health to you as well, Punk Chef.
Thank you very much, Callum.
By the way, that's a write-in. You know when I'm saying I want write-ins? I don't want talk about the game at the weekend. I'm not being an arse, and because I know you're trying to contribute, but like when we're looking for topics and somebody like we'll sign a player and someone goes, talk about that player we signed. That is the show. That is what we do. Of course we're going to talk about that. But what I want in the community is insightful, thought out,
something outside the box,
and random funny crap as well. Yeah. I love that sort of stuff, but stuff that's like, oh, we can talk about this, but not always as well. I don't always just mean, can you list the best 3 players from this era? That's cool as well, but that's difficult. That's more. That's sort of like more work. That's stuff we pull from. I just mean questions that are really like you wouldn't usually hear us answering, but you thought about it. That sort of thing we'd really like. So.
Yeah.
This is a write-in. What do you think on this on the training facility?
we definitely need to move from Middlewood, personally. I think we've got 3 pitches and the indoor dome thing. But the academy all play there, plus the first team, plus the under whatevers. They all play there, and that's a lot of wear and tear on pitches.
Well, to be honest, mate,
got 3 of them.
I even played in that dome as a kid, and that's how long we've had all that up there.
Exactly. And
that's
the thing is, the issue is, I think with the training facilities, he has invested money into it, and he's had to. He's had to like get some of the latest training gear, redone some new porta cabin kind of things that we've had in the past and replaced them. The issue is land. Buying land is a nightmare. For him just doing this. Just for him getting a new training ground could cost millions and millions. He got it, but it's where he puts it, then it getting rebuilt, and then does he do a kind of, well, we built this, we can't have this for this. It needs doing, it needs addressing, because every single manager we've had has said something about the training facilities now. That something's not right there.
We've got the land, though. So do we need to move, or do we just need to start again?
What, Bulldoze? Yeah, but where do you go while you're...
That's a very good point.
I'd love...
That's a very, very good point.
You know what I'd love for to do is do 6 months at like Hallam, using some of their equipment, or Don Valley, that kind of thing. Just see what it actually is, to see if it's a pick thing, or...
I can imagine the facilities are a little bit different. Between non-league.
No. Hallam University.
Oh, right, okay.
So using like a university facilities or something like that, where they've got to have it a different way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where we can do a side by side. This works better to this, and then see what it was. Because I think there's a big thing about, like, I'm pretty sure Westwood was saying at one point in one of his interviews recently, there was like glass in the pitch. It's like, that's not what you want.
People can get on the training pitches, though, can't they? They can. That's why there'll be bottles and stuff like that. It's not ideal, Middlewood. It's not been... The one thing that worries me, right, is if we were ever to get big time again, which, to be honest, I'd be enjoying it too much to care about all of this. But like, we'd struggle with stadium expansion. We'd struggle with training ground expansion. We're not in a... People would have to give up their houses if that was really going to be invested in, and we'd have to knock down some of the land.
We would have to pay a lot of money out.
This is going to... The one place I could see it working, there's quite a lot of factories near Hillsborough that are like, there's a lot of land on there, a lot of warehouse factories, that sort of thing.
I know somebody a couple of years ago said, why hasn't he had a look at buying the ski village and then flattening it and having it up there? But I don't know if that will work realistically.
I mean, the self-storage is massive, that building. How much land's around that? You know, that's close, but it's...
I've always wanted the whole thing, and it would always go down badly. I've always wanted us to kind of like have a similar to what Man City does, where the stadium's the heart and then the training facilities near, like,
ideally, our academy would be. It's the other side of the city moved into our territory, didn't they? When they put their academy down.
To be fair, their academy's not much better at the minute, from what I've been told.
No, but like talking about land and stuff like that,
it's something that's not been invested for ages. You know it's bad when a couple of seasons ago, when we signed Leon Beck for like 6 months in January, he turned around and said, yeah, it's not changed since I came here when I was 18. It's like, cheer for that.
I don't necessarily think the training ground needs to be that close.
No, I don't. Not many other people's are.
You know, it's... Do people still go to the training ground to see the players? Surely, surely, kid. Yeah, I never did it as a kid. You just wait at the door, wouldn't you?
Well,
you know,
could you imagine if we did like transfer deadline day, where we could have the play or the fans at Middlewood? It'd be like, hey, we're at Middlewood. Where?
It's just,
it doesn't fill you with. To be fair though, I still think the Megastore needs revamping massively, because it's just a little shed tacked on the end of the stadium, really, if you think about it. The metal the pitch, the whole thing with the club when it comes to training ground and stadium, they all need a big revamp. And I understand why he hasn't done it yet, but also it would be nice to have something done. There's the people I know who one of us was painting and decorator, and he goes into Rovers and says, "Look, I'll touch up the painting ground. I'll do painting at the training ground," and he gets a free season ticket for the year. Throw it out to the community, kind of thing.
God, he's getting ripped off there, isn't he?
Free season ticket, isn't it?
A free season ticket for the work he'd probably have to do with the upkeep.
Yeah, don't blame him.
But yeah, to be honest, I think a lot of us would sort out the bloody seats in Hillsborough for free.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for that, Callum. It's a difficult one. We do need to do something about it, but it's finding this.
It's land.
Maybe
could you buy out the flats that are near Hillsborough, near Middlewood, and have that?
I'll be honest, mate. The problem is housing is important at the minute. At the minute, I would actually be a little bit.
You can imagine it not going down well, can't you?
I'd be a little bit miffed if you start knocking down houses when we're in a housing crisis.
Yeah,
especially
there's always been the talk of buying Niagara at the back, but that's never ever gone through.
What if we? No, I can't say that. No, not on a family friendly podcast. But some of the things in my mind, man, like. We need to move, but it's not. We got other things on our mind first. Let's get to the Premier League and then worry about it. Yeah. So we'll never have to worry about it.
At least get to the Championship and try and improve it again, and then see what happens.
You can
look at.
I think we secretly stumbled upon it there. Find some temporary accommodation and revamp Middlewood. Yeah.
Well, look at what Burnley did. Burnley went to the Premiership, got relegated, went back up, but with the money they got in parachute payment, they rebuilt the training facilities.
And I will say, a lot of people will have a pop at Chansiri, but he would put the money back into the club. He wants it to be able to put in the club. He's like, I can't spend anymore because we're getting in trouble. Yeah. You know? But like, if he had more money coming, he'd be able to put the money into the club.
Yeah.
Thank you, Callum. Tom Ball writes in, glad you're getting better, Dex. Thank you. Maybe as a topic, who in yours and Punk's best 11s now? If injuries weren't a thing since Hutch, Iorfa and Anir and aren't match fit right now. If injuries weren't a thing, okay. So far, we're coming up to December, and aside from Mendes Lang, we've got a picture of how our players are and what sort of game we can play this season. So we do this quite a lot. We get this asked quite a lot. I just wondered if you'd throw Mendes Lang or anyone into there. Yeah, I would pretty much say Corbin, who probably. I'd probably say Corbin, who probably creeps into it from the ones I've said in the past.
And I think you switch out between Mass and Biz now and again.
Yeah, and I don't know if I ever put Dunkley in there before, but Dunkley's creeping in there. We will do a proper one around Christmas, around the break. Yep. Matthew Bramall writes in and says, have Wednesday fans changed their views on Darren Moore? Wasn't that long ago fans were saying sack him.
To be fair, depends where you look. Fans are still saying sack him.
Fans. There is fans that are waiting for a reason.
Yes.
Right. There is that. That's what I'm saying. There is so much tension around it because I said it. Was it against Wycombe or was it MK Dons, wasn't it? Where I said, it might have been Wycombe actually, where I was like, I can't be arsed with the fallout if we don't turn this around. Yeah. I think it was MK Dons and we turned it around and won. Because I was like, we really don't deserve to be losing this. We're battering them.
Yep.
And I just couldn't be bothered with the outcry for it. And then obviously we won.
Even with some of the wins we've had, people have found a reason to have a go. It's like people were blaming Bailey Peacock foul for the MK Dunk goal. You cannot blame him for that goal. Kind of thing. There's nothing he can do about it. It was a worldie. It was a great goal and move on. That's nothing on Moore. That's nothing on Bailey.
It was an Adam Reach screamer. That was brilliant.
Yeah, it really was. The thing is, one of the things I got is you look at some of the teams that are going at the minute. Some of them may not have those strikers there come end of January. That could go in our favour.
No, that could be. It's one of those where. Do you think we'll lose anyone in January?
Possibly Dunkley.
Unless if you don't agree to sign a new deal, you probably sell him, don't you? Because then his heart's not in it for the rest of the season. But I want Dunkley
to be fair, I think there's a lot in that team who are not looking at it like that. I think in the past, you could look at some Wednesday players and think, well, they're looking for a move. They're looking for a move. It's the first time in a while where you don't see that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see everyone pulling the weight. There's no tension. And fair play to, I'm going back to Dunkley, but Dunkley's had it where fans have been apologising to him on Twitter. He said, don't apologise. It was your opinion. It's fine. We get on with it. There
were some people reaching for that, like, replied to me. They've never said anything before, and they're going, I used to think Dunkley was shit. But now he's like, just to try and get a light from him.
There was one where he did actually quote tweet himself and said, fair play, he stepped up and he's doing really well. And
there were some. I just saw everybody pile on that, trying to get a response out of Dunkley after that, and I was like, okay, guys, he's not going to feel great if everybody's certainly thinking, I used to think you were crap, but now please pay attention to me. You're brilliant. Right. Thank you for that writing.
Yeah.
Next up, we have got Hartlepool in the Pizza Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Papa John's.
And then we've got no game at the weekend.
We've got nothing because it's FA Cup week. And we got knocked out of that.
It is that old faithful cup that we've historically got knocked out of, unfortunately, this season. But we come back to Portsmouth at the end, but we're not going to talk about that because we will talk about that. I will stream that because it's a Tuesday night match.
Yes.
Yep. But Wednesday playing Hartlepool, that is a blast from the past.
Are you streaming this on Wednesday? Because this is a Wednesday game and it's midweek.
Maybe. Keep an eye out. If you see this tomorrow, and I've decided that I'm going to stream it, I'll stream it. But it'll be between that and doing the Wednesday career mode, and the Wednesday career mode has not been out for a couple of weeks because of me dying. So I might do that instead.
on the Wednesday career mode, I might be able to play Mr. Dex now.
Oh yeah, you got an Xbox, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, well, that would maybe it's something we'll do as part of the anniversary episode celebrations.
Celebrate.
We need to go now, don't we? We've got to that point. We said we were going to do a bumper episode, but I'm starving. We're just running up. We're running on fumes, mate. I'm still, to be honest, I've been to work today because I sort of had to go because I felt one thing that it's left me feeling weaker. I'm going to have to build my strength back up. And having to go and do a normal day of work, just
that's actually really annoying for you as well, because you were starting to get your physical fitness back as well, weren't you? So it's all gone.
That's the problem, though, because I was obviously out for a long time and then building the fitness back up, and then this has kind of took me back on a reset.
It depleted you.
I just need Christmas to get in. I'm just like, I've got so much to do in the next 2 weeks. I can't look at like my emails or my schedule because I'm gonna panic because I'm gonna. I've got it all under control, but it's one of those where I look at it and I go, I've got so many things to do.
You see it written down and your brain just goes, nope, shutting down.
Well, because I know I can do it all, right? But the more I look at it, the more I go, Jesus Christ, you've really got a lot to do. Do you know what I mean? But that by Christmas, it'll all be gone. It'll all be done.
Yep.
Anything to add, my friend?
Just look after yourself and stay safe with everything that's going on at the minute. And, you're sodding max. If you're able to, it does help.
It will stop you coughing because to be honest, guys, if I'd have seen you on Monday, Tuesday that week, I wouldn't have known I'd got COVID.
Come on, there is something nice about having your mask on and somebody cutting you in front of you when you're going to pay for something at the till and they cut in front of you. You can just go, fuck off.
I just don't think you need to be an arse. It's my saying in the everyday, if something's there, just don't be an arse. It's not about being a sheep. It's not about being all of that. It's just this country's going to get more divided, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yep.
But we roll, boys, and we roll into the next episode of Talking Wednesday, which will be next week. Because I think I should have immunity for a little while, so I'm probably not getting Rona before next episode and out for another time. So
tough one, finger crossed, everything.
Leave us nice reviews.
Yeah, they're important.
We will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.